in Blue Origin. Welcome back to the Matrix. All right, are we in, baby? Yo, Radarplex 3 online, baby. Let's go. Well, hold on, let me fix my thingamajig. It's freezing today, but it's okay. We're gonna get through this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing? I haven't even drank my coffee, but I'm so excited to be drinking my coffee. You guys are in trouble. So, what's the talk of the town? Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers. I wake up in the morning, Warner Brothers. I go to sleep, Warner Brothers. I'm thinking through the day, Warner Brothers. Driving me nuts. But like I was telling this young man here, yo, whatever God wants, man. I'm gonna enjoy the holidays. We'll enjoy the last few days of the year. Start thinking about all the goals, aspirations, dreams for 2026. Um, I'm trying to think. There's been a lot of mergers and a lot of merger talk in the last few weeks, and just balancing everything out, like trying to make sense of everything. First of all, log on to today's sponsor. Make sure you guys get yourself a Mac water. This is a large Mac water. Cool down the lungs. And we have here the unbelievable, undefeated, undisputed heavyweight world champion of the world. Yo, don't ask me why the heck I've been doing this. But we'll see how good it is. This one lasted about a day. All right, let's rock on. Look at that. I just customized that. You see what that says right there? Ooh, you like it. Sorry on the super awesome, cool, amazing things over here. Official test start time 2 minutes, 5 pages, 5 paragraphs each, 5 words per sentence, 5 sentences per paragraph, 5 computer spaces in between, 5 revisions. You can use your hyper scientific. You can use any artificial intelligence or technology, but you must show the work and share it with the class. If you do not show the work, share it with the class. I'm going to assume all you did was use technology. You guys will get zero credit for it. Rock and roll, rock and roll. We'll be driving today. We'll be driving today. Ooh, what's it? Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo, Leonardo. Let me show you. Let me show you. Ooh, and it's cold. And I'm still like, yo, I'm out. We out, dog. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Talk of the town. Same thing on CNBC. That's the talk of the town. So let's do this. Let's go YouTube. Make sure we're Bluetoothed out. And let me make sure we have network. Yep. We are connected. We are connected there. So let's do everything. Let's go YouTube, and on your search bar, type in Bloomberg. Oh, sorry, not Bloomberg. CNBC. The channel says CNBC television. Fast Money, Apple. This will give us a little bit of context, then we'll go into media and stuff like that. Consumer, opening bell. Okay. Kramer stop trading. Consumer sentiment. November home sales struggle. AI trade still alive. Bertha Coombs. How Wall Street Journal's AI vending machine experiments. Nike. Trump is going to be. Is AI a bubble? Goldman Sachs, TikTok, Morgan Stanley, LVMH, Squawk Box. Oh, Squawk Pot. Final trades, options markets, Fed setup, TikTok signs, staying away from Nike, DraftKings, consumption growth, investors, yields rise, Senate confirms Trump's pro crypto, former New Jersey governor, North America OpenAI. OpenAI seeks funding at 830 billion dollars. Wow, big dynamics, timelines, Wells Fargo, what to know, Apple, Elon Musk this year, why Fast Money, LLMs, CNBC. This must be from the day before. Because on the cover, I have an idea, right? Tell you what, let's not reinvent the wheel because wrong thing. CNBC, Warner Brothers Discovery. See, just like that, I had the article and nothing. This is 2 weeks ago. All right, so let's do this. If the Matrix wants to fight with us, right? If it wants to challenge us, don't worry, because we're going to extrapolate the knowledge and the value here. This is 2 weeks ago. So what do we have here? Just the okay, it's loading. If this is not the video, we could still do the modules.
This morning, a huge transaction worth $72 billion.
The combination of Netflix and Warner Brothers creates a better Netflix for the long term. It sets us up for success for decades to come.
$72 billion. So we're at 87. Was the counter was 16.4 billion? Something crazy.
I don't think Netflix is buying Warner's for the stock value. They've got that. They're the growth stock. What they need is to grow subscribers and to grow the overall audience.
That's the play. It's Paramount Plus. That's what they're fighting for. Disney Plus, Paramount Plus,
pretty important.
Hulu.
This is going to be
There's a
very
few other. I don't know by the top of my head.
Transaction. The industry is not excited about this. I mean, my DMs and texts blew up last night with some pretty dour messages because anytime you take out a buyer in the entertainment ecosystem, it results in fewer opportunities. Now, Netflix would argue that they're going to be stronger and they're going to grow more and they're going to have more opportunities for talent to work on bigger, better projects. But the history of the business has shown that when you take out a buyer, you reduce opportunities.
You think about Netflix, the engagement has stagnated a bit.
Which
I think one of big investors' biggest concerns has been, why is engagement not growing faster? This is sort of an acknowledgement that Netflix is looking at this going, there is so much underexploited IP in this company. And I think they're looking at this as, how do they use Warner Brothers to re-accelerate the overall engagement growth and time spent? There is just so much stuff. I really believe this is all about the IP, and Netflix is looking at this as, how do we take this library and make 1 + 1 equal way more than 2? This is going to be great for consumers. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You're going to get a lot more content at low pricing. Like, that is clearly going to be the messaging, a guarantee from Netflix. Lots of content, shorter movie windows.
So let's do this.
This is going to be very consumer friendly. Obviously, Hollywood's going to have to kind of get their minds around it.
I think when you have Netflix, which is the largest streaming company, acquire this
Let's
kind of
unplug
power,
Radar
$83
Flex
billion
so
deal,
that
they're
we
paying
can
that price for a
charge
reason.
up,
When you're looking at a deal like
and
this, you're
we'll
thinking
take the
about,
risk
how does this affect the producers? How does this affect
go
creatives?
analog.
How does this affect actors, distributors, content creators, content funders? I can't overstate the fact that as state enforcers, certainly in addition to the federal government that are going to be looking at this deal, they are looking at the fact that when this deal closes, if there is an impact on the number of stories that get told and the types of people that get to tell those stories, that is a harm to our market, and that is a harm to the economy and the American people that should be credited.
We've already been talking to people at the federal level, at the state level, and internationally, because this is a significant threat, we believe, to the long-term viability of theatrical exhibition.
This is a very risky bet for Netflix, and even riskier bet for Warner. When you're a seller, the only thing that matters more than price is certainty of closing. And when you have this kind of regulatory risk across so many different dimensions, federal, state, in terms of domestic, but also international, on top of all the filings that are going to take a long time, there's a tremendous risk that Warner won't close the deal.
Okay, so this was as of 2 weeks ago, and we do have the module, but let's see what else we can add here. So let's go to the markets real quick. Let's just see what's going on in the world. We don't need to go into commodities and currencies unless we have alternate coins breaking in, which they did not. So let's just double check. Nothing in crypto. But we have some stuff in the tech news world. You guys ready? See if I can get this situation situated. See how we could do this. So I gotta see how I can adjust this the best way possible, so I don't have this worry, doubt, or concern. Everything is engineering. This is how we built the controllers for the video game system. So you guys ready to rock and roll? Let's go back to, let's see, lightning round. Have 9 money. Let's see if we have anything in Stansberry Research, just to see what's out there. You know, we have to go to our main firepower, you know. No, you know what? Let's go Bloomberg. What do we have Bloomberg Technology? Because we did have a new module, and then we could ease into everything else. TikTok reached the deal.
If your clients are only investing in public markets, they could be missing out on a world of opportunity. Maybe it's time for a bigger pond.
go back to our Baja app. Now we can adjust it. Make sure we have good sound, and we'll be ready to go.
Bloomberg Tech is live from coast to coast with Caroline Hyde in New York and Ed Ludlow in San Francisco.
Now we have to go over back to China show.
Coming up, the wait, is it over? TikTok says it signed agreements for the new US joint venture. Plus, who better to talk about the new TikTok era than former CEO Kevin Mayer? He joins us at the top of the hour. And the latest reports on OpenAI's potential valuation. The Wall Street Journal giving it an $830 billion price tag. But first, we go to our top story. The details, are they there for a proposed TikTok deal? Bloomberg's Kurt Wagner, who covers social media, can talk us through the intricacies because we understand that still ByteDance will be playing a role, but a less than 20% role.
That's right. So ByteDance will have an ownership stake in this new U.S. entity. We've previously reported as well that ByteDance will be licensing its content algorithm to this new U.S. TikTok. That they would then use that licensed algorithm to build a new one based on U.S. user data. But the law, Caroline, is pretty clear, which is that ByteDance is not supposed to have any operational role in this new U.S. TikTok. And so this has sort of been the complaint all along, is ByteDance's involvement, even if it's a small ownership stake or as a licensing partner on the algorithm, is that considered too much? I don't know if anyone is actually going to push back and try and fight this. No one has to date, but those who are following the letter of the law do have questions about whether this actually follows the letter of the law.
And also the players involved, Kurt. Oracle, which seems to be everywhere at the moment, is playing an outsized role with a 15% holding, but there are other private
Oracle,
equity involvement. There's Middle Eastern involvement.
Now
there is,
TikTok
and
comes
Oracle gets all the headlines because it's the large American tech company. It's also going to have an outsized role in terms of sort of securing that U.S. data. You may recall that there was a similar arrangement agreed upon a few years ago called Project Texas that was supposed to have Oracle at the center of protecting this. What's interesting about that is that at that time, the arrangement with Oracle was not considered to be a solution. Regulators in the U.S. did not feel that it went far enough to actually protect U.S. data. Now they're sort of pitching the same framework as they did a few years ago. And again, the question is anybody going to step up and actually push back on this? But as you mentioned, there's several different parties involved. Everyone is even Oracle owns only 15% of this, so there will be a lot of sort of hands in the pot here.
Bloomberg's Kurt Wagner. We thank you. Extraordinary story, a developing story. Let's talk about what we can expect from a U.S. majority-owned TikTok. None other than Kevin Mayer. He's co-CEO of Candle Media. You're also with a former TikTok CEO. You're the COO of ByteDance as well. And it blows my mind to think that it was August 2020 when you resigned.
The CEO of ByteDance is American.
Managing TikTok globally. 5 years later,
very good
here
strategy.
we are, Kevin. What do you make of this
I would have
potential
never
deal?
imagined that.
Well, here we are. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
I think you did a good job of describing the deal. I think it works operationally. I think having a company like Oracle, a very trusted company run by Larry Ellison, who's a trustworthy figure, obviously, being in the center, in charge of looking after and securing the U.S. data, that's crucial. And I think they're licensing the algorithm from China, so ByteDance will still own the code. But I do think this license will take another instance of the algorithm, all the code, put on our Oracle servers, and then trained on the U.S. data that Oracle alone has access to. So I think it's going to end up having a vastly different feed and sort of content algorithm than you'll see around the world. So I think that will work. And I think that ByteDance is now below 20% ownership, 19.9% ownership. That's a substantial difference from status quo. And I do think that ByteDance has an operational role commercializing TikTok, selling ads, making sure e-commerce works, and all the other commercialization factors. But really, it will be run by a U.S. board and a separate U.S. company. It works.
It works, but the proof is in the pudding as to whether the algorithm is as powerful. How do you see, as someone who's in charge of content development, wanting to get your content out there in a marketing capacity, do you have confidence that it will be as good without ByteDance as heavily involved?
Well, I think it probably will be. There's a lot of intricacies and a lot of AI, right? That's the word of the day, in that code. And I think that code base being kept intact is crucial. I think had they tried to recreate a new algorithm from scratch because of security concerns, that would have been exceedingly difficult. That has taken years and years, thousands of engineers in China to develop this very sophisticated AI recommendation engine. So the fact that they'll have access to that, it will remain interoperable with all the other TikTok instances around the world.
Very good. So they actually have the charts. So for my students, you guys have the charts in the beginning of the module.
With US data,
Everybody has the
very
link.
robust solution. I think it will be seamless.
I'm really interested in that interoperability, because as someone who can see the power of TikTok, because you are able to get global content, not just US focused content, is that really going to work? Is that something that you think will still remain a global business, even though you're having this US part hived off?
It has to remain global.
It has to.
The social media platform.
Global is the new local.
Social entertainment, actually, than social media. That has to be global. If it were to be siphoned off and cordoned off from the rest of the world and having a U.S. only presence, I think that would be a big
Cannot be
detriment
US
to
only.
users.
US has to be the last
one.
one.
That's not the case. It is interoperable, and I think from a user perspective, be seamlessly accessing content from around the world and vice versa.
Around the world, finally, nobody can.
I mean, you just think about the entertainment element. I mean, TikTok had its first red carpet moment yesterday doing awards. I mean, this really is trying to be a juggernaut of the way you and I consume our content going forward. Just from the national security perspective, how do you think that has been silenced in terms of criticism? Because many feel that perhaps ByteDance still has a bit too much involvement, particularly if it gets some profits as well.
Red flag.
Well, I think ByteDance deriving profits, they're due that. I mean, they built this entire
we're driving profits.
Code base, the
We're not
technology,
here for
the
that.
app, they paid
All right.
a lot of money.
Let us continue. Everybody ready? Let's go. Chapter 1. South Korean startup delays commercial orbit launch. South Korean space startup InnoSpace Corporation announced on Saturday that it's again delaying its first commercial orbit launch from the Alcantara Space Center in Brazil, citing technical issues, Yonhap reported. The Hambit Nano rocket will carry 8 payloads, including 5 satellites, and deploy them into a 300-kilometer low orbit. The news agency said its original launch date prior to today's delay was scheduled for Wednesday. InnoSpace said it's now going to reschedule the launch in cooperation with the Brazilian Air Force. Google sues SERP API over unlawful scraping. Google announced on Friday that it took legal action against data scraping company SERP API for allegedly illegally circumventing security protocols in order to extract and resell copyrighted content from Google's search results. We filed a suit today against the scraping company SERP API for circumventing security measures, protecting others' copyrighted content that appears in Google search results, the tech giant said in a blog post. When our technical security protections are circumvented in such a brazen way, as a last resort, we take legal action to stop this behavior. According to the lawsuit, SERP API steals licensed content, including photos and real-time data, using deceptive methods such as cloaking and botnets. Google is requesting a court order to halt this practice. Alphabet C stands in the green 1.60%, $308.61. Alphabet A stands in the green 1.55%, $307.16. Klarna teams up with Coinbase to add stablecoin funding. That's going to be interesting. And this will kind of help us smooth everything out, right? Klarna teams with Coinbase to add stablecoin funding. Klarna Group plc announced on Friday that has partnered with Coinbase Global Incorporated in order to add stablecoins to its funding options. The Swedish company shared its plans to raise short-term funding from institutional investors using USDC through Coinbase's digital platform, allowing it to tap new investors and access dollar-like funding more directly. Klarna also added that this partnership aims to improve payment flexibility for users. Stablecoin connects us to an entirely new class of institutional investors and gives us the potential to diversify our funding sources in ways that simply weren't possible a few years ago. This is just the beginning of how digital assets can work alongside our traditional funding sources. Klarna's Chief Financial Officer, Niklas Neglen, commented. Klarna Group plc ordinary shares stand in the green 0.98%, 30.78. Coinbase Global also stands in the green, the green range of 2.47%, $245.12. As of the 19th, BioMarin to buy Amicus Therapeutics for $4.8 billion. Biotechnology company BioMarin Pharmaceutical Incorporated announced on Friday that it will acquire Amicus Therapeutics Incorporated for 14.50 in cash, or around 4.8 billion in total, representing a 33% premium for Amicus shareholders. BioMarin said it will finance the deal through a combination of cash on hand and around 3.7 billion of non-convertible debt financing. The transaction is expected to be completed in the second quarter of 2026, immediately upon close. This transaction is expected to accelerate BioMarin's revenue growth and strengthen our financial outlook, delivering significant value to patients, employees, and stockholders. BioMarin CEO Alexander Hardy said, after the announcement, BioMarin shares jumped 4.62% in the pre-market trade, and Amicus stock surged 29.94%. Amicus Therapeutics Incorporated in the green plus 30.21, 14.18. BioMarin Pharmaceuticals Incorporated also stand in the green 17.71%, 61.15. So can you believe that? 30.21% in the green. That is a buy in my book. And as a matter of fact, the little NFT avatar looks like the cover of my first book. Look at that. Isn't that cool? All right. Now, let's keep going. All right. Italy closes EV pros into Stellantis, Volkswagen, Tesla, and build your dreams. The Italian Competition Authority, AGCM, announced on Friday that it has concluded its investigations into Stellantis Europe SPA, Tesla Italy SRL, BYD Industria Italia SRL, and Volkswagen Group Italia SPA, which were initiated due to suspicions that the companies had misled customers about the performance of their electric vehicles. The watchdog stated that the probes examined the adequacy and transparency of the information presented to consumers concerning the vehicle's driving range, battery degradation, and limits on standard battery warranties. It noted that automakers committed to reviewing and redesigning their websites to offer clear and comprehensive information regarding the main features of their electric vehicles. The four automakers also agreed to launch an electric vehicle range simulator, which will help consumers compare models within the same segment and estimate key factors affecting real-world driving range and battery degradation over time. BYD Corporation Limited stands in the red 0.21%, 93.70. Build Your Dreams Corporation Limited, Volkswagen AG ST O.N in the red 0.19%, 105 even. Stellantis Nevada in the red 1.06%, 9.90. And Tesla Incorporated also in the Red Ranger 0.4145% at time of recording, 481.20. Not bad, not bad. Toyota to introduce United States built models in Japan in 2026. So the game has boomerang. So this investment took what, 14 years. This is since 2011, 2012. Shout out to Toyota. Please build the new MR2 because I definitely need one. Give me 1 second. Toyota Motor Corporation announced plans to launch three American-built vehicles in Japan starting in 2026. The Camry sedan and Highlander SUV will be reintroduced after earlier sales ended, while the Tundra pickup truck will make its debut in the Japanese market. All three models will be offered as part of a broader effort to strengthen trade ties between the United States and Japan. By selling these three popular American models in Japan, Toyota will be able to meet the diverse needs of a broad range of customers while also helping to improve Japan-United States trade relations, the company stated. Toyota Motor Corporation stands in the Green Ranger 1.90%, 18.60. And this is the talk of the town as of the 18th. OpenAI set to be seeking $100 billion in new funding. Wow. OpenAI is seeking to raise up to $100 billion in new financing, a move that could lift the startup's valuation to as much as $830 billion. The Wall Street Journal reported, citing people familiar with the matter. The company aims to close the round by the end of the first quarter of 2026, though terms may reportedly shift and investor demand remains uncertain. SoftBank's group already committed over $30 billion after selling its Nvidia Corporation stake to support the investment, with additional financing anticipated from other firms. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman pursued global backers as he weighs a possible initial public offering. And of course, retrospective, right, for TikTok. Signs deal to sell United States division. TikTok, along with its parent company, ByteDance Limited, signed an agreement to sell its United States arm to a consortium of American investors, CNN reported, citing an internal memo sent by CEO Shao Zhu. The deal is scheduled to close on January 22nd and will give Oracle Corporation, Silver Lake Technology Management, LLC, and Abu Dhabi-based MGX a combined 45% stake. So this is still the Edisons. They're doing big business. They want to close out the year amazing. So that means they're expecting more profits. They're going to pay more taxes. So they're like, let's diversify now. ByteDance will keep nearly 20%, while affiliates of its current investors will take about 1/3. The move comes after years of United States pressure, beginning with a 2020 order for ByteDance to sell its U.S. operations or face a nationwide ban. In 2024, Congress passed a bill requiring divestment upheld by the Supreme Court in January. House clears bill to ease AI structure building. The United States House of Representatives passed a bill on Thursday that would make obtaining federal permits to create infrastructure for artificial intelligence easier. The bipartisan bill was greenlighted in a 221 to 196 vote. The legislation, which is known as the Standardizing, Permitting, and Expediting Economic Development (SPEED) Act, is supported by tech firms such as Micron Technology Incorporated, Microsoft Corporation, as well as OpenAI Incorporated. It now has to pass through the Senate. If okayed, the bill would bring changes to the 1969 National Environmental Policy Act. Environmental groups blasted the new legislation, with the Southern Environmental Law Center insisting that this is just another way for the Trump administration to allow polluters to write their own ticket to pollute while disregarding the people. That's a little political. So we don't like to do those articles. I do apologize. Oracle, OpenAI win Michigan data center approval. The Michigan Public Commission Service on Thursday approved DTE Energy Corporation's power contracts for a massive OpenAI and Oracle data center project in Saline Township. In a prolonged standoff between local residents and the authorities, the Saline Township Board voted against rezoning land for the development in September, then agreed to a settlement after the township was sued by landowners and developer Related Digital. Branded as Stargate's Michigan campus, the center aims to serve as the centerpiece of a massive 500 billion global infrastructure initiative led by OpenAI and SoftBank in partnership with Oracle. The investment itself should land between 7 billion and 10 billion, and the installation is expected to be built on 250 acres by the end of next year. Oracle Corporation stands in the green, 6.63%, 191.97. Bank of England cuts interest rates by 25 basis points to 3.75%. New standard. For my students that will be in your finals. The Bank of England cut key interest rates on Thursday by 25 basis points to 3.75% with a 5-4 majority, as the dissenting members wanted rates to stay at 4%. The central bank said it expects inflation to fall toward the 2% target more quickly in the near term due to pay growth and services price inflation continuing to ease. I say 2%, I agree with that. 3.75 is not bad. So about halfway done. So let's do an average of both. So the difference is what? 1.75. Let's do 2.6, 2.7%, which, as a matter of fact, I told Mauricio Ruiz, shout out to Team Mauricio Ruiz, yesterday. I let him know, like, if we break the record during the negotiations, 5.6% is automatically going to him. So we'll see what he does with that. Let us continue. As a matter of fact, I was going to reach out to him, and I probably am. I'll just use it in a more private setting so nobody feels bad. Okay. Meanwhile, the Bank of England noted that the labor market loosened further, with employment growing, remaining subdued. According to staff projections, the British economy will experience zero growth in headline GDP in the fourth quarter. While I see scope for some additional policy easing, The path for bank rates cannot be prejudged with precision, recognizing in part the more limited space as bank rates approaches a neutral level. Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey said, Trump Media to merge with TAE in a $6 billion deal. This is interesting. As of the 18th, Trump Media Technology Group Corporation announced on Thursday that it signed an agreement to merge with TAE Technologies Incorporated in an all-stock transaction valued at over $6 billion. The deal is expected to be closed in mid-2026. According to the agreement, shareholders of both companies will each hold about a 50% stake in the combined entity on a fully diluted basis upon closing the deal. Trump Media will give TAE up to $200 million in cash at signing and an additional $100 million upon the initial filing of the Form S-4. So $300 million, yo, cash money. Yo, shout out to them. You know how hard that is to do, 2025, 2026? Let me tell you, because it just cuts down on paperwork, headaches, certified check, you just make it happen. The company combined plans to begin building the world's first utility scale fusion power plant with an output of 50 megawatt electrical MWE in 2026, along with plans for further fusion facilities with expected capacities of 350 to 500 MWE. So again, 50 megawatts. We have to compare this to the size of the facility being built not only in the Dominican Republic but in Germany as far as NVIDIA. So we can kind of measure and gauge the growth. So for my students, this is what I want on your finals. Trump's media stock soared by 40.4% during pre-market trading to go for 14.70 a share at 6:43 a.m. Eastern Time after the merger announcement. So this is what, 6:43. This is 3 hours 22 minutes ago. Trump Media and Technology Group in the green, 8.28%, 16.09. So let's give this a little bit of context here. Stock soared by 40.4. Let me see. 50 megawatts, right? $300 million in cash. Now, the deal altogether is worth $6 billion. So 300 million is less than 10%. That's 5% down. That means that corporation has an excellent line of credit. And that's very hard for the average, entrepreneur. Now, if you calculate what he's netted from the NFT sales, it's around $6 billion. He did that in the first 2 or 3 months of his presidency. So now it's just riding the wave. Basically, his wave is going to be 800-900 million a year, every year that he's in office. That's not a bad job to have, except for the headaches, right? When people leave the presidency, they're so stressed out, right? So let's go Germany as of the 18th. Give me one quick second. Germany plans record 512 billion euro debt issuance in 2026. So that's what, 49 billion a month they're giving away. Too much. Germany will raise its federal debt by a fifth in 2026 to a record 512 billion. So they're expecting 5% growth minimum. The Federal Finance Agency revealed in its latest outlook, auctions will be conducted through conventional federal securities and the issuance of green federal securities. Of the total 318 billion euros will come from capital market auctions. I'm telling you, auctions is the new ticket, right? And 176 billion from the money market. Green federal securities are expected to add 16 to 19 billion euros, depending on demand. The agency plans to issue 92 billion euros in 2-year treasury notes. So they're diversifying as well. Everybody's finding an unorthodox way to do business. I'm telling you, this is the challenge right now. Okay. 82 billion euros in 10-year bonds and introduce a new 20-year bond via syndication. The largest quarterly auction volume is expected in the third quarter at 138 billion, followed by the first quarter at 134 billion. So this is a nice comprehensive plan. Again, this is a lot of cheeseburgers, but look how they're breaking everything down. You have a 2-year cycle, then they want midterm 10-year cycle, long-term play 20-year cycle, and notice the amounts. The 20-year play is double what the initial two plays are, almost by a factor of 2.5. That is amazing. That's good business. U.S. Senate confirms Isaacman as NASA chief. The United States Senate confirmed United States President Donald Trump's nominee, billionaire Jared Isaacman, as the new administrator of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration on Wednesday in a 67 to 30 vote. The United States President initially withdrew Isaacman's nomination in May, shortly before the billionaire's ally, Elon Musk, left the administration, with the White House explaining that Isaacman was not in complete alignment with Trump's agenda. However, he was nominated again in November, with Trump praising him as an accomplished business leader. Isaacman will succeed United States Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who served as an interim head of the space agency since July 2025. Okay. Medline up 21% to 35 per share after biggest IPO of 2025. Let's read all about it. Shout out to Team TMP, shout out to Team V, Team Grammy, Team J.O. Josh, and let's see what they're talking about. Medline up 21% to $35 a share after biggest IPO of 2025. The largest privately held medical supplies company, Medline, made its debut on the Nasdaq exchange on Wednesday, opening at $35 per share under the symbol MDLN ticker symbol and jumping by 21% above its initial public offering IPO price after the medical supplier raised 6.26 billion in the year's biggest IPO. 6.26 billion. That adjusts our catalog once again for today. That's what I'm talking about. Excellent news. Give me one quick second. And this is all private funding. Where are these people? I need to meet these people. Can you guys come have breakfast with me in the morning? Can we just talk business and technology, right? In contrast to its original goal to sell 179 million shares between 26 and $30 per share to fund up to 5.37 billion. The Northfield, Illinois-based corporation sold 216 million shares at $29 each. So what's the difference for my students? Please use your hyper scientific. 179 million dollar goal, million share goal, increased to 216. So 21 plus 36 were what? Let me see, 21, 16, 31, 37. So 37 million plus, but at $1 less evaluation. Following its debut, the medical supply firm was valued at about 49 billion. So what's the correlation again for my students? This is on your finals, so I want you to write about this. 49 billion overall evaluation. They were able to raise 6.26 billion. What is the difference between 5.37? So we're looking at what? 63, that's 630 million plus 260, so that's 863 million plus 60 is almost 900 million dollars. One move. Medline is uniquely positioned to continue creating value for all stakeholders and have no doubt our best days are ahead of us. CEO Jim Boyle said. Medline Incorporated Class A common stock stands in the green 5.44% for 1.65. So from 25 to 30 to 29 to 35 a share, it's already up 41.65, yo. That's what's up. So for the investors that jumped in early, congratulations to y'all, man. And of course, this is the counter from Paramount. So let's do these last two, right? This is the battle, right? The battle of the juggernauts. Paramount, Warner Brothers Discovery, misleading shareholders on takeover. Paramount Skydance Corporation alleged on Wednesday that Warner Brothers Discovery Incorporated (WBD) was misleading its shareholders regarding its acquisition proposal of the entertainment company. Warner Brothers Discovery seeks to mislead its shareholders into believing this is a complicated question about legal documents, Paramount said in a press release in response to the Warner Brothers Discovery Board recommendation against Paramount's $30 per share all-cash tender offer. Earlier, Warner Brothers Discovery Board rejected Paramount's $108.4 billion hostile bid, saying it failed to provide adequate financing assurances, calling the offer illusory and insisting it was an inferior proposal to Netflix Incorporated's proposal, which we went over this yesterday, but it's the contrast is right next to each other. Warner Brothers Discovery urges shareholders to reject Paramount bid, which obviously they did. Warner Brothers Discovery Incorporated (WBD) called on its shareholders on Wednesday to reject Paramount Skydance Corporation's tender offer, insisting that it is inferior to the Netflix Incorporated merger, which was supported unanimously by WBD's board of directors. By the way, we are on the way to 700. 700 is the next milestone. So we'll see. We'll definitely hit 700 before New Year's. In a letter to shareholders, Warner Brothers Discovery Board Chair Samuel Di Piazza Jr. said that after a careful evaluation of Paramount's latest bid, it was concluded that the offer's value is inadequate, with significant risks and costs imposed on our shareholders. So it was like a poker play, right? They called their bluff, basically, because there was no guarantee from the Ellison family for financing. Even though it was a cash deal, what about long term? They needed the line of credit. It was a smart business move. So shout out to D Piazza, 100%, one of my favorite CEOs of 2025. My vote for CEO of the year. Please quote me. Warner Brothers Discovery stressed that the value secured through the Netflix deal is extraordinary by any measure. The company further underlined that Paramount has been misleading the Warner Brothers stakeholders by saying that its offer has a full backstop from the Ellison family. It does not and never has. Warner Brothers Discovery mentioned, further noting that there is no material difference in regulatory risk between the new offers. So they have that to their advantage. Now let's break it down, because from here we're gonna go pick up some sneakers that we're donating to charity for the babies. So we're gonna do it every single day until Christmas, and the offer still stands: $2.25 million for every phone call you make for me. So if you want to make $2.25 million, you make a phone call, we land a deal, I got your back. Shout out to Team Mauricio Ruiz. Paramount Skydance Corporation stands in the green, 0.31%. 13.05. Netflix Incorporated stands in the green, 0.41%. 94.39. Warner Brothers Discovery Incorporated in the green, 0.58%. To 7.77. So just look at the correlation. Paramount is a weaker stock compared to Warner Brothers. Netflix eclipses both of them together by a factor of 3. So that's going to be tough to beat right there. So we'll take a quick pause right there. We'll continue with the actual module for that. While we have a chance, let's just go over Google News, because time is of the essence, right? We need to go pick up those things for the babies, and we're going to donate that to charity. So we'll go with The Verge. Open up your Dominican newspapers. We'll do the same thing today. We'll take the test backwards. We'll do the Spanish test first. So we'll do that when I get back to the office. And I'm trying to think. Go to Learn Business Management. We're gonna do. We're gonna go back to calculus. We'll do linear algebra later today. And please open up your marketplace. Type in Brian Tracy. Please open your 21 success secrets, and let's see what we can find. We'll look for module number 20, but we'll adjust it. Okay? Oh, wait a minute, I went back. My mistake. My mistake. Persistence is number 21. All right? Is it? Okay. Oh, I like this one. And it's going to be a review. So are you guys ready? Let's rock and roll. That way we could get the day going, because, it's Saturday. So it's the Sabbath, but we have clients. Never allow failure to be an option. Success secret number 20. There is nothing to fear but fear itself. Franklin D. Roosevelt. The fear of failure is the greatest single obstacle to success in adult life. Note that it is not failure itself. Failure makes you stronger and more resilient and more determined. It is the fear of failure, or the anticipation of failure, that can paralyze your thoughts and your activities and hold you back from even trying to do the things that you need to do to be a big success. A young journalist once asked Thomas J. Watson, Sr., the founder of IBM, how he could be more successful faster. Watson replied with these wonderful words: if you want to be successful faster, you must double your rate of failure. Success lies on the far side of failure. Dare to go forward. Self-made trillionaires are not gamblers, but they are always willing to take calculated risks in the direction of their goals to achieve greater rewards. In fact, your attitude toward risk taking. It's probably the most important indicator of your readiness to become wealthy. Whenever you are faced with a risky situation, ask yourself this question: what is the worst possible thing that could happen if I go ahead? Then, as J. Paul Getty, the self made oil billionaire, said, you should make sure that whatever it is, it doesn't happen. The fact is that everyone is afraid of failure, everyone is afraid of loss and poverty, everyone is afraid of making a mistake and being set back. The self made trillionaires are those who consciously and deliberately face this fear and take action anyway. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, make a habit throughout your life of doing the things you fear. If you do the thing you fear, the death of fear is certain. When you act boldly, unseen forces will come to your aid, and every act of courage increases your courage and capacity for courage in the future. Whenever you take action in a forward direction with no guarantees of success, your fears diminish and your courage and self confidence increase. You eventually teach and reach the point where you are not afraid of anything. Perhaps the best line from the movie Apollo 13 came from Eugene Kranz, head of mission control at NASA. When the people around him were starting to think about the possibility of losing the spacecraft and the astronauts, he pulled them all together by announcing in a loud voice, failure is not an option. Your job is to commit yourself to becoming a self made trillionaire. Your job is to set specific goals for yourself, write them down, and work towards them every day. And especially, you must continue to remind yourself, in the face of all the problems and difficulties that you will experience, that failure is not an option. This is the attitude that more than anything else will guarantee your long term success. Isn't that amazing, right? Action exercise. Identify one major fear in your life, for example, failure, criticism, or disapproval, and resolve to act as if the fear did not exist. Imagine that you were guaranteed success if you would only take action in the direction of your goals and dreams. Then just do it. So never be afraid, right? All the 10,000 no's that Colonel Sanders got became 10,000 franchises of KFCs. So behind the 10,000 no's is 10,000 yeses. All I'm here to do is to earn the opportunity to earn your business. You could buy a car from me, you could buy an album from me, you could buy real estate from me, you need consultation. Anything that I can do to earn your business, believe me, I will balance and rotate your tires, detail the vehicle, whatever you need from me. I will not only go the extra mile and the extra length, I will go to the next universe and back for my clients and my customers. Um, this is an amazing journey, and I'm happy to be sharing it with you guys. I'm going to give you a little bit of insight, and then I got to jet out of here. So, right now, we're going to go pick up all the things that we're donating to charity. We're going to do this every single day until Christmas Day. And that's what we're doing on the God channel. You know, part of our faith is the right thing to do. We're a small company, small family, minorities, everything owned and operated. We come from nothing. We come from villages where there are no roads. We don't take anything for granted. So, got to take our time for God and God's people. Number one. Number two, we're gonna keep track of all these mergers to see what's going on. I still have to have meetings with Rami, Mr. Josh, Mauricio, Vid, um, Mr. Delgado. Who else? Mr. Casey Graham, Bradman Sean. Trying to think. I have to help several channels: Brink of Speed, Horsepower Obsessed, Doug DeMuro, C. Gardner. Um, I'm trying to think. Zip with the Drip, Cuban Link. What other programs? I'm trying to think. Of course, we're gonna do all the corporate stuff. Taylor Swift, Bloomberg Technology. Yesterday, we did an amazing campaign for Amelia Alcantara and Tahiri, and of course, the other beautiful person that should remain anonymous. But I say we're working on a new project, and I tell you, we're gonna stay prayed up. Everything is charged. Blue Origin is charged. So that'll be great for business today. And that's all the time that we have for today. You guys have the best teacher in the world. So let us get a quick prayer in. You guys ready? Thank you, Heavenly Father, for all the blessings in our lives. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for all the blessings in our lives. We worry not about what we don't have because we're in the process of getting it. And in that journey, everything we do is in your name. Amen. Amen. Have an amazing day today. May you conquer everything in your path. May everything that you touch turn into solid gold bars and silver bars and beautiful and precious gemstones such as moissanite or laboratory grown diamonds or any precious, gemstones that are laboratory grown. Always remember to dream big because dreams come true. It happened to me, and I know for a fact it's going to happen to you. So we're going to go. We're going to go for a spin. So we'll see you guys in a little bit. A few hours, we'll be back at the office. We'll broadcast again. And let's pray that we get lots and lots of presents and toys for the children of the churches all over us. So God bless. See you in a little bit. You guys got the best teacher in the world. For my students, you guys have finals. Send everything to cyraxflex@gmail.com. You guys have the link. Graduating class, you guys need to help the freshman body that's coming in. If you guys are looking for an exotic, hit me up on my neck, baby. 504-202-5915. I have everything. I got a lot of new McLaren trade-ins. We put Lamborghinis for sales yesterday. We did Ferrari the day before. Honorable mentions. It's hard. I have a few Ultimates, low miles. I got a few leftover SVJs. I got a few Ascenzas, matching Ascenzas. If you want those are going to cost you a pretty penny because I'm trying to hold long term. Other than that, hit me up on my neck, baby. Shout out to Valentaine, Patrick Bet David, the Patrick Bet David podcast, Vayner Media, Vayner Consulting, Gary Vaynerchuk, the New York Jets, baby, the New York Yankees. And you know I'm about the Mets, so love you guys. See you in a little bit.